here so that we can give you the information early in the year. This is such an extremely critical year for the senior class. This is my 15th senior class working towards graduation. So we know the system, we know the clock, and we'd like to help your senior as much as possible and get all of them to the ceremony in May. Also, you know, you've seen it in the mornings, you know that King Kekaulike is one of 6 public schools across the state that was named in the post, chart of public schools across the country that have challenging and rigorous curriculum. That's because the reason you get on that list, it's a very prestigious list, is because the number of advanced placement test takers far exceeds the number of seniors in your class. So we're very proud to say that we are one of 6 schools, 4 in Oahu, 2 in Maui High School and ours, that made that prestigious list. So we'll be,
good evening. I would really like to welcome you. It's very encouraging to see this large number of parents. It's tremendously encouraging. And I am Mark Elliott. I'm a vice principal here, and I'm part of an administrative team of vice principals, my partner being Dr. Kathleen Domino. And we are sort of divided. Mrs. Schofield divided us, and I am responsible more or less for seniors and juniors, and Dr. Domino is generally responsible for sophomores and freshmen. However, so in a general sense, I will be your point person for your senior and vice principal, but we cross over, so we're both at your disposal, and we really want to help you. At this time, what I'm supposed to do is walk you through our disciplinary rules and regulations and laws, especially as they relate to seniors. And of special note, our senior agreement, which sort of details our expectations for our seniors for 4th quarter. And you should make note of that senior agreement, because violations of our rules and regulations can, and every year 2 or 3 students, it does preclude them from participating in commencement. So our rules are, in an overall sense, are guided by Chapter 19. It's a law that details offenses from most serious, Class A offenses, fighting, assault, harassment, Class B offenses, on through to lesser offenses. And
so I spent this summer going through everyone's ACs, all your transcripts about your credits, and the registrar at the school you are and I will make sure that you have everything you need in order to graduate. But there are some students who need additional credits, and we're going to have to talk about recovery. So you will be getting a phone call, and if I can't get a hold of you by phone, you'll be getting a letter from me, because we need to make sure everybody is on track to graduate on May 16th. So, no questions? Going once? No claims? Great, I look forward to going to May 16th.
Okay, I know we've had a lot of information so far, and I'm about to give you a whole lot more about senior project. Like Jamie said, my name is Tal Gasamar. I'm the senior project coordinator here at Kekaulike. But by no means do I do this alone. We have a great team, a senior project team. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is that the students will still be doing classwork in these classes, in social studies and in English, but the senior project has to be completed. Every component of the senior project has to be completed. So for example, in social studies, to get the half credit in social studies for the first semester, they have to have everything done, including the senior paper. So if they don't have the senior paper done by the end of the 2nd semester, not only will they not get the credit for English, they will not get the credit for social studies as well. Okay? So despite the classwork we have, which is still important, all of the components of the senior project need to be completed in order to get the credits in these classes. This consists of 4 parts: the product, paper, presentation, and portfolio. A lot of the former students that I've talked to said that the paper, is their most difficult, which is we should be starting in the next 2 weeks. And then of course the presentation, because they're really, really nervous talking in front of people. The product. So the most important thing about the product is that it is something that the student enjoys to do. If it's something that they enjoy to do, it's a whole lot simpler. It's easier to write the paper, and it's a lot easier to do the product. We're working on this all the way to the end of 3rd quarter. We'll do the presentation. So from now until March, and if they pick a topic that they don't like, it gets a little bit wearing on them. They really don't want to do it. They don't want to go meet this person. But if it's something that they like, it's a whole lot easier. We also want to make sure that it extends the students' learning, it stretches their potential. So we tell them you can do things that you know how to do. So, for example, the product categories that we have is a career focus, so like a job shadow. At the very least, we want your student to figure out, well, you know what? I actually thought about being a nurse. I went in, I shadowed 20 hours with a nurse, and you know what? This is not for me. And that's just as valuable as saying, this is my career path. This is exactly what I want to do. Service learning. So like doing community service. Like I said, going into the elementary schools and teaching kids how to play the ukulele or an interest that they have. Or even teaching at our school, maybe how to fix a dent in a car. How to sand it, shave it, paint it, and stuff like that. And then the personal interest. The products have to be 20 hours outside of class time, and there has to be a 5-hour community component to it. So what that means is, say for example, what's the example I use in class, the product is to teach 10 people how to do yoga. Well, getting 10 friends of yours together, going to Kalani Park and doing yoga in the park, that's not a community, community component. Even though yes, you're in a community, it's not a community component. The community component part will come in where you will talk to a yoga instructor and develop a lesson plan. Ask them questions, how do I do certain things? That is the community component. To get in touch with somebody outside of the school and outside of your family. It's a skill that we want them to learn, how to cold call people. Hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm a senior at King Kekaulike High School. I'm doing my senior project on this. Can I please come and do an interview with you? Or can I please come and job shadow with you? That's an important skill we want them to learn. And the cost of the product is entirely up to the student. We should definitely have a discussion with you about it. You can see the picture in the corner there. That's actually a brick oven that is still being used today. In fact, he graduated in 2010. That project cost, I think he told me, somewhere around $4,000. Okay, but it's something that he and his father agreed to do and they wanted to do anyway. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to spend any money on this, but I'm just saying that it was a discussion he had with his parents, and that's how much it cost him to do. Okay, so keep that in mind for any kind of projects. A lot of people, I've seen projects about working on cars, painting cars, fixing an engine, changing the clutch, changing brakes and all that stuff. But make sure that you have a discussion with your student to make sure that it can be done. We don't want to find out in December that, oh, you know what, I needed this part and I don't have the money to buy it. Okay? On the paper, we've changed a little bit from last year, previous years. We're moving towards an argumentative research paper. So they have to have an argument in it. They have to present both sides, in other words. It's 5 to 8 pages, thesis statement that answers an essential question and connects to the product somewhat. The presentation. This will be done on March 15th. So this will be, you will give a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation in front of a panel of adults, anywhere from about 3 to 10 adults in the room. Mostly will be teachers, and hopefully 1 or 2 people who are in the field that they did their product, their topic on. So if they are doing it on, they did a baseball clinic, so we have 1 or 2 coaches on there. Maybe one is a baseball coach, one is a football coach. And then after the 10-minute presentation, 5-minute question and answer period to talk about their product and their paper. Now, I tell all my students that 9 minutes and 57 seconds is not 10 minutes. You know, it has to be 10 minutes, and we're going to practice this in a week before that they actually do it. And like I said, it's scheduled for March 15th on Friday. That is the Friday before spring break. So by the time we start spring break, right before the 4th quarter starts, you know, they're 97% finished with their senior project. You know, but they're not 97% done with their senior year. We still have the whole 4th quarter to go. There's a tendency that after the senior project is done, oh, I'm done, I'm good. You know, but no, we still have the whole 4th quarter to go. And then the portfolio, which is, we use an online system called the Senior Project Tracker, and it makes their portfolios like a website. It turns out really nice. It basically has a collection of the work that they've done. And we send it to the judges about a week before they come in and actually watch the presentation. So the judges get to look at, you know, they get to basically meet the person that they're sitting on the panel for. Through this portfolio. They get to see pictures, they get to see their progress, where the product started, and how it finished. And students with an incomplete portfolio will fail social studies, which may result in not graduating. Okay? So the portfolio is where we put everything together. You know, they have to have 3 evidence checks. They have to have their product plan. They have to have their paper. They have to have their letter of intent. All of the requirements for the senior project has to be in the portfolio. Okay, so if they're missing something, they don't have a completed portfolio.